Do you ever feel like you're trapped? Not by walls or chains, but by a heavy, invisible blanket called tomorrow. You have big dreams, brilliant ideas, but they are all scheduled for a day that never seems to arrive. You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. But when tomorrow becomes today, the promise shifts again. This feeling of being stuck, of watching time slip through your fingers while you do nothing, is one of the heaviest burdens to carry. What if I told you that the key to breaking free isn't a grand plan or a burst of motivation? What if it's something so simple, you've overlooked it every single day? Stay with me for the story of Ayan, a young man who was the king of procrastination, and how a single conversation with an old gardener changed his life forever. In a small, quiet town lived a young man named Ayan. Ayan wasn't a bad person. He was intelligent, creative, and had a heart full of dreams. He wanted to build a business, travel the world, and write a book. But his dreams had one problem. They only existed in his mind. His days were all the same. He would wake up late, scroll through his phone for hours, watch movies, and tell himself that he was researching or gathering inspiration. His room was a mess. His plans were a mess. And deep down, he knew his life was becoming a mess. He felt a growing frustration, a sense of guilt that gnawed at him every night before he fell asleep. He promised himself, tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow, I will start. But tomorrow was always just a copy of today. One afternoon, feeling more useless than ever, Ayan left his house and walked aimlessly. His walk led him to a small, beautiful nursery at the edge of town, managed by an old man named Mr. Karim. Mr. Karim was gently tending to a tiny sapling, his hands covered in soil, a peaceful smile on his face. Ayan watched him for a while before sighing loudly. Mr. Karim looked up, a heavy sigh for such a young man. "What troubles your mind?" he asked kindly. Ayan, feeling a strange urge to talk, poured his heart out. "I don't know what's wrong with me. I want to do so much, but I can't start anything. I just feel lazy. It's like I'm paralyzed." He then added with a bitter laugh, "It's funny. I was just watching a video online, something called The Story of the Boy Who Wanted to Do Everything Tomorrow. I felt like the video was made about me, but even after watching it, here I am, doing nothing." Mr. Karim listened patiently. He then pointed to a huge, magnificent banyan tree that stood tall in the corner of the nursery. "Do you see that tree, son?" "Yes," Ayan replied. "How do you think it became so grand and strong?" Mr. Karim asked. Alan shrugged. "Time, I guess. It just grew." The old man chuckled. "No, it didn't just grow. It started as a single, tiny seed. For a long time, nothing was visible above the ground. But beneath the surface, it was working, pushing its roots deeper, day by day. It didn't try to become a giant tree overnight. It just did its small work every single day. It pushed through the soil. It sought a little water. It absorbed a little sunlight. That's it." He then looked at Ayan with piercing eyes. "You are trying to build the entire tree in one day. You are so overwhelmed by the image of the giant tree that you are afraid to plant the small seed. Laziness is not your problem. Your problem is that you are focused on the fruit, not the root." Mr. Karim's words struck Ayan like lightning. He had never thought of it that way. He was always obsessed with the final result, the successful business, the finished book, and the mountain of work it required felt impossible. He went home that day with a new perspective. The next morning, he didn't try to write a whole chapter of his book. He just opened a new document and wrote one sentence, just one. Then, he didn't try to clean his entire messy room. He just picked up the clothes from the floor and put them in the laundry basket. The day after, he wrote 2 sentences, and he made his bed. The day after that, he wrote a full paragraph, and he cleared his desk. These were tiny, almost insignificant actions, but for the first time in years, Ayan felt a sense of control. Each small task he completed was like a small drop of water for his own roots. He was no longer waiting for a tidal wave of motivation. He was creating his own small stream. Day by day, the heavy blanket of tomorrow started to feel lighter. He was no longer just a dreamer. It was a doer one small step at a time. Ayan's story isn't about becoming a millionaire overnight. It's a simple, educational story about the immense power of small, consistent actions. The real enemy is not laziness. It's the paralysis that comes from staring at the mountain instead of taking the first step. The grandest journeys, the biggest successes, and the most fulfilling lives are not built in a day. They are built moment by moment, action by action, one seed at a time. So, ask yourself right now, what is the one small seed you can plant today, not tomorrow? Today. If this story planted a small seed of inspiration in your mind, help it grow by hitting the like button. And to get a daily dose of powerful stories and ideas that ignite your potential, make sure to subscribe to our channel, DailyFire Mindset. Thank you for watching.